So I think of those as what I call 10x experiences, that you can elevate the expectation and deliver a 10x meaning an order of magnitude a better experience than people had been accustomed to previously. So as you said, the American menu in most eat out places was pretty bland, and yet you recognize that you could make these big, bold flavors. You could make the presentation of the food really exceptional, and you did a 10x improvement of the experience, and it worked.
Yes.
So how did you go from the early days, getting started, proving that you were right, to this huge network of Outback restaurants all over the world? I mean, something had to happen from the proof of concept of the founders to the expansion to become this world success story.
Yes. I mean, when I look back at that story, it even mystifies me a bit, John, as to how we came into, like, we have 100 restaurants in South Korea. 100. I mean, I've never even been to South Korea. I mean, the explosive growth that we've had and the ability to make it continue to happen day in, day out is great. I can look at a few things. When we first started out, my partners wanted to do 4 restaurants. That was our goal. We were going to do 4 restaurants. But for myself, 4 restaurants was not going to do the trick, because there was other things I wanted to do in my life besides just pay off my $250,000 loan. But as I look at that, I wanted to make the food so good that it would be such a compelling idea for us to grow. So here's what happened. We built 3 restaurants. And as being old restaurant executives, where a lot of people knew us, like you, they watch you. What's John Scully up to? What's Tim Gannon up to? And they watch you because you're starting something new. Norman Brinker came to visit us, and he looked at our restaurants, and he looked, and all the guys around him said, you know, we weren't doing much in sales, and they all poo-pooed our restaurant and just said, Norman, these guys have missed the boat. And Norman asked him why. He said, well, the decor package isn't that great, and you know, the real estate package isn't that good. But Norman asked him, what's good about this concept, guys? He made him say that, and what they all said, well, the food is extraordinary, you know. And Norman said, these guys are on to something. They're on to something new. So Norman did some research about spice and how spice was consumption. Annual consumption of spice was on the way up. So Norman knew we were onto something, but what happened was people came to us to franchise our restaurants. They said, we're either going to rip you off or we're going to franchise. So we allowed them to franchise because there was no risk to us. So it was Jacksonville and Kentucky were our first out of state. And lo and behold, boom, they were just as successful as we were in Tampa. And we found out that this works in Kentucky and it works in Jacksonville. So then I remember that one moment, one of my partners came to me and he says, we have now big plans for this concept. We're going to go and try and raise some money and build some more and then take it public. And this was in '92.
Now, was this when Bain came in as an investor?
No. Bain came in 2006 to take us private, so that we could navigate some very difficult waters as a private company. That was a very important move. But we went public in '92, and that's when liquidity became a non-issue. Up until then, it was really hard to borrow money. It was really hard to get. We sold 20% of our restaurant on a go-forward basis for $2 million. That was an incredible investment. And those investors, the venture capital guys, are thrilled to this day about that as being a milestone in their careers of their venture capital company. But you know, one of the things when you don't look back and say, oh, we gave away our company. I don't know any entrepreneur that looks back at a certain point in his life, I wish I hadn't done that, especially if you're successful. Because you look back and you just say, that was part of the plan. That was part of our success, our path. We needed that money to get to the next step. So I don't think you should ever focus on making a few mistakes along the way. Especially at that time, we needed the money to grow and build some more restaurants. So, as I look back, at Outback, and then the day we went public, how exciting that was, and to ring the bell at NASDAQ, and then to do it again on the New York Stock Exchange, and then we went private, and to ring it again at NASDAQ about two and a half years ago. I was up there in New York, right in the middle of Broadway, and you see the Bloomin' Onion in 60-foot television screens in the middle of Times Square. It was a moment I'll never forget.
Well, Tim, this has been a fabulous story about Outback. Your success starting over in Italy and then going all the way through the revolution in American fast food has just been an incredible one. Thank you so much for this chance to talk about it.
You're welcome, John. It's been a pleasure.